Hello, Halo's Gaming here, bringing you a guide on standings with agents. So this is something that is asked by me or about like every single time I'm doing missions. Somebody asks me, how do you maintain your standings? How do you keep on doing missions like you do them? How do I do this? There's a few different parts or factors that I kind of want to explain. I do have a checklist here in an order that I'm going to explain. Hopefully you guys can make sense of this a little bit, or fairly well. But I'm going to explain how I maintain standings so that I can continuously run burners and make a lot of ISK doing missions. And how I can actually be so picky about the missions I take. First, we'll go over the actual requirements to talk to an agent for missions. There are three numbers shown on the screen here. So we have the top one, which is the... actually, we'll start here. So we'll start with when you speak to your agent, you talk to her in station, or him, or whatever agent you're speaking to in station. You have, when you view mission, you request mission or whatever, you have this little eye icon here. It'll bring up a menu. Generally, description will be the default thing to be selected. There's agent info, standings, and notes. If you click the standings tab, you will get three different numbers. These are what matters. The top one is the standings with the agent. The middle one is the standings with the corporation. And the bottom one is the faction standings. And that's the easiest way to find it for the agent that's relevant. You can also go into your character screen here and open up your interactions. And then you can scroll through all of your standings with every NPC entity in the game that you have a standings with. If it has changed from 0, you have information here. So all these agents I've interacted with at some point in my career in EVE Online. So you have information in your thing. So I've interacted with all these corporations. I've interacted with all these agents and whatnot. But this is complicated. There's a lot in here depending on how old you are or whatever. The agent that you are interested in or working with is the one that you want to click eye on, and it'll show you the three that are actually important. So to take a level 4 mission, you are required to have... Oh, wait, hold on. One more thing. The number shown here is effective standings. And this is what's important. This number will dictate whether or not you can talk to the agent or not. And the effective standings is figured out by whichever is the highest of the three, unless one of the three is below -2. Because if any of the three get below -2, the agent will not talk to you. So if you have a standings of 10 with an agent, and your standing is with the faction is -2.01, the agent will not talk to you. And the flip side, you can have a, I don't even know if it's actually possible, but in theory, if you had a faction standings of 10 with a negative standings with the agent of 2.01, the agent will be unable to talk to you. So we can flip those back and forth. It's true. You have to keep them all above -2 to talk to the agent. Different levels have different standings requirements. So for level 1, you need a standings requirement of -2 or greater than -2. Actually, there's no standing requirements for level 1s. You can always take level 1 missions. So even if you get -2, you can always talk to a level 1 agent so that you can actually grind them back. That's a requirement in the game. That's how it functions. You can always talk to level 1 agents. For level 2s, you need a standings with the corporation or faction, because you can't talk to the agent, remember? So the agent's still going to be 0. Can't talk to the agent and request a mission until you have the standings high enough. So that means that you need your standings to be 2 or greater to talk to the 2. So it's the effective standing. So in this case, it needs to be the corporation, which is the middle one, or the faction would need to be greater than 2 for you to speak to the level 2 agent. And then for level 3s, it's 3. It's really easy to remember. And we can actually show this here. If we go to the agency, we'll actually show this. Agency, agents and missions, mission agents, security agents. There's a bar somewhere that is shown standing system, character standings. Oh yeah, so here's the bar. So this is where it is. So in order for you to, it's in your information when you talk on the thing. So when you show your cat, can you get out of my face? I know you guys love her. But when you show your standings and your character, you can get the requirements. So at -5, which is you'll be attacked when you're in space. At -2, you will be unable to speak to, or you're only limited to the level 1 agents with the drive settings being -2. At level 2 agents, I stand corrected by the game itself. You need standings of 1.0 or higher with a corporation or faction. To talk to the level 3 agent, it requires 3. So it goes up by 2 for every level. So 1 unlocks level 2, and then 2 after that. We get 3 for level 3s, and then we need 5 for level 4s, and then we need for level 5s we need 7.0 standings for taking the mission. So this is translatable. The information in this video is translatable into level 5s as well, and level 3s if you prefer. Anyways, that's where effective standings are helpful and required. So that's why we need to know this. Now, I also knocked out 2, so I explained the difference between agent, corp, and faction. Basically, the agent is the smallest one. It's the agent themselves. The corporation is like the agent's boss. So you can think of it like that. So your boss or their boss. So they kind of, if you have positive standings with that, with the corporation, then the boss will like kind of give you the the vouch, and so the agent will talk to you because their boss vouched for you. And then the Servant Sisters of Eve, in my case, the faction is like the boss's boss, and he's vouching for me. As long as my standings are high enough, the vouch is valid. He gets me into the mission, which is helpful. And then the next thing that we do to, since we're declining a lot, what I wanted to talk on is storyline missions. One thing that happens is every 16 missions that you do, you get a storyline mission. And every storyline mission that you do will increase your faction standings. So we maintain faction standings. We keep it above 5 by doing the storyline mission. Sorry, my cat is all over my desk right now. But that's how we get, we keep our storyline or our faction standings up, is we have to do about 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 storyline missions that we get to maintain our faction standings high enough. And that will allow us to continue talking to the agent as long as the faction standing stays above 5.0, we're good. And as you can see, mine's 7.11, and I decline a lot of storyline missions, and they are given to you when you do your 16th mission. Another agent will talk to you. Generally, they're in the same station. Sometimes they're in a nearby station. My personal favorite to run is materials for war. It takes like 2 seconds, and then you're done, because you just keep the materials in the station, and you're good. And when you run out, you just buy more and haul it out should you need to. And then the next thing that I want to note is that when you decline a mission, you will always lose standings, assuming that you've declined a mission in the last 4 hours. If you go 4 hours without declining a mission, you get a free decline. This is how we can continue doing level 5s. But so I just declined a mission there, and our standing was 5.5. Now it's 5.31. We decline again. We are going to take a standings hit. We just sit here and decline for a minute, for example. So we can sit here and decline for a little while until we get what we want. But basically what happens is your standings drop. We're below 4.6. The agent will continue to talk to me, even though that we've dropped down a little bit. And one note that I want to take in, 2 things that I want to mention here in this bit is that declining a mission does drop your standings with the agent and the corporation a lot, but with the faction just a little teeny tiny bit. So if you decline enough missions, eventually the faction won't talk to you as well. And then yeah, so you do want to make sure you keep your faction standings up, and continuing to do these missions. I also always decline missions that are against opposing factions. So for example, against Amar, which is what I get a lot of them, I decline missions against Amar, so therefore I don't lose Amar standings. So I can maintain standings with other factions as well, so I don't get locked out of their space. It's very important if you care about it. the missions against other factions can be quite lucrative, but you are giving up the ability to access that space, because if you do it long enough, you will lose your standings and the ability to go in that space. Also, since we are declining a mission with their friend, my Galente and Mimitar standings slowly drop. This is... My Mimitar and Galente standings were higher than 7.0. I used to run Mimitar level 5s on this character. And over the course of the last 2.5 years, I've managed to get from 7 to 4.3. This can easily be corrected or offset by doing the SOE Epic Arc and alternatively turning in, for whichever you need, Galente or Mimitar, for SOE as an example. Or if you did them in Mimitar space, you would slowly lose Mimitar standings. Or if you did them in Kaldari space, you would slowly lose those standings over time. The SOE Epic Arc is plenty to offset that. And this is literally over the course of years that we're talking that I've lost these standings. So as we decline, that's kind of something, a couple things to keep in mind. Another factor is the lower that we go. If we go down to below 0, an equivalent decline. So if you decline the same mission at 5.0 standings and the same mission at -1 standings, the standings hit by whole number is going to be a lot less, because it reduces by a percentage of what you have. So a lower number means a smaller decline, and also for some reason it's backwards for gains. So the lower you are, the higher it gains. So we have kind of a compounding effect where they work together. As you go negative, you can decline more if your standings balance is lower, which is really weird. So if say I decline Smuggler Interception at 0.1, or at -0.1 versus 0.1, the standings impact by number here will be different. So I might lose a whole point here, where I might lose a half point at -1 rather than 1. And just kind of how it works, and I call it the compounding effect. And then the other thing that you want to note while declining missions is the bigger the mission, the bigger the standings hit. So if we decline this one's only worth 6,000 LP. We call them bigger when they have a higher LP value. And then anomic missions are always free to decline. They're always a free decline. Damsel in Distress is about the same size as the last one. And we declined a few here. I'm trying to get one that's worth 9,000 LP. Stop the Thief is worth 316. We've been sitting here declining missions for a while. We're still at 3.24. Stop the Thief is barely going to move things. 3.03, we only dropped 0.2 there. We'll request again. We got Rogue Drone Harassment. We'll decline that guy. And hit this icon shortly after, 2.78. We dropped a little bit less that time. That was a bigger mission, but we dropped less. We got Rogue Slave Trader, which is only worth 2,000 LP. So if we decline this one, it's not going to hurt our standings a lot. We're going to go 2.65. We only went down like 1.3 there, or not even a whole point. This is a burner, so it's a free decline. And then we can see here, we got Vengeance, so this one's big. This is a really big mission. So we're at -2.65. We're probably going to drop below, or not -2, we're at 2.65. We're probably going to drop below 2 for declining this one. I don't remember the exact numbers or anything, but generally when you decline a bigger mission, you take a bigger hit. So we can see that one was 2.16. We took out almost a 0.5 standings hit for that one decline. We declined this one that's significantly smaller. It's at 2,000. We took a fraction of that, so we only took like a fifth of what we lost in the one before. So smaller missions are easier to decline, bigger missions are harder to decline. This makes level 5s and higher level missions really hard to decline. You can get really picky in the lower levels. And then the other thing that helps us maintain standings and continue to do missions like we do, I want to touch on skills, which is the last piece that completes this puzzle. On our character skills, we do train social skills for mission running. 4 of these are relevant. 3 of these are relevant. The 5th and 6th one, or the 4th and 5th one, are for payout. So connections, if we read this out loud, the skill at interfacing with friendly NPCs, 4% modifier to effective standings from friendly, keyword here is friendly, NPC corporations, factions per level, not cumulative with diplomacy or criminal connections. So if we click this little eye, whenever this standing is positive, that means diplomacy is in effect. So my true standings with Servant Sisters of Eve is probably more like 6 or 5.8, around there, because I have the bonus from diplomacy that helps me. So as I get closer to that 5.0, diplomacy is helping me keep my standings high enough to continue declining. So that does help quite a bit. The next skill into question is, that was connections. Everything I just said was for connections. Diplomacy is the reverse. So this is skill at interacting with hostile agents in order to de-escalate tense situations, as demonstrated by some of the finest diplomats in New Eden. 4% modifier per level to the effective standings towards hostile agents, and this is of course not cumulative with other ones. So, or with connections or criminal distribution connections. This is for criminal NPCs. So this one will replace diplomacy when you're dealing with pirates. So if you're doing pirate missions, the criminal connections will take the place of it. You need to train them both. So for example, diplomacy helps me with my my Amnitar mandate. Standing is negative 1.76. If this was lower, Amnitar mandate would not talk to me if I had standings. So we're not locked out. If we did not have diplomacy trained to 5, our standings would be below -2, and we wouldn't be able to do level 4 missions in any corporation that belongs to the Amnitar mandate group. And then also it makes our standings better with Gristas, Blood Raiders, all these guys. A -0 cannot happen with diplomacy 5, or a -10 cannot happen with diplomacy 5, I believe, which is really interesting, as on another reason I'm trying to grind down my Triglavian standings, and if diplomacy is helping me here, this is a shot in the foot. So something that I'm working on for a future video, this might be relevant, which is interesting. So diplomacy will affect your negative standings. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I still have some science to do on that. That's just a weird thing. The last skill that is important here is social. And social reads like this. Skills at social interaction. 5% bonus per level to NPC agent, corporation, and faction standings increase. That means that anytime you have an interaction with an agent, anytime you have an interaction with like turning in a mission or something that gains you standings. So this is why I tell you guys in the standings video how to get instant standings. There's a video a couple videos back why social and connections are really important. Social makes it so that when you turn in that mission, you get more standings than base. So like I said, when we get really low in standings and we turn in a mission, that will make the boost that we get from turning in that mission higher. So these things all kind of compound with each other and form the ability to decline what missions we don't like and accept the missions that we like. So as you train these skills and as you get your faction standings up, it becomes easier and easier. But those are the skills that affect standings. If you are mission running, as a quick bonus tip, to make ISK, whether it be faction warfare, whether it be level 5s, whether it be level 4 mission grinding, anything interacting with agents, negotiation increases the ISK payout for each mission that you get by 5%. So at level 5, it's a 25% bonus. You get an additional 25% ISK when you turn in a mission. And then security connections increases your LP payout by 10% per level, meaning a 50% gain. I believe that the standard burner payout without any skills is something like 9k LP here in a 0.5 system. We'll get into the security of the system and how it affects payout later. That's not in today's video. But that's a 50% bonus. That means it goes from 9.5k or so to 14k. That is a big deal, especially out in null-sec, where your LP payout makes up a bulk of your earnings, and it's a really big deal for level 5s, where you can earn up to like 90,000 to 100,000 LP per mission instead of 75,000 or 60,000. Like, the bonus is huge when you get to level 5s in faction warfare. It's a big deal. So that's a couple bonus bits on skills. I do want to say thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe below. That way you can, and then hit the little bell notification. That way you can see when my next video goes live and you can learn something with me. If you guys want to learn any new mechanics, make sure you comment below on any mechanics you'd like to talk, or you would like me to talk about in EVE Online. as I'll do my best to explain things that I understand, and I will openly admit if I don't understand something. I'm very good about that. I like to think I am. Maybe I'm not, but I like to think I'm open to being wrong. We actually got proved wrong by something the other day, and it's like, okay, well, I was wrong. I've been wrong for a while, and we proved it wrong with the evidence that existed. So it's kind of cool, learning and improving and growing. And with that being said, fly fun, enjoy your time in EVE Online, and we will see you guys in the next one.